Welcome to another episode of the Wolf and the Doctor podcast. I'm your host, Dr. John Devereaux, alongside my co-host, Mr. Glenn Curry, and we have a very, very special guest today.
Oh yeah, man! I am very excited for this guest. I mean, I actually went to school with her, so I'm excited to see, how her journey has been through the years, through broadcasting and whatnot. We have Miss Nadia in the building.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. And what we always do is we start the episode off with our quote of the week. So what I typically do is go through the person's Instagram and try to find like some type of thing that they said. And that was pretty profound. So the quote that you posted, and I pulled it was from like your actually like your first post on your business page, is doing the work means less talking, more action.
Yes.
And I thought that was so fitting for the very first post that you have as like, your business, for your business page.
Yes.
So what is the meaning behind that? Or what was your mindset when you decided to post that?
You know what? I'm sure someone else came up with that before in a lifetime, but I feel like I came up with that myself. And I always say that or stand by that, like action, speaks louder than words. And, you can have faith, but there has to be action behind it. I've been doing the work for years and continue to do the work, in my field. So I thought it was important to post, to have that be my first post, because one, to inspire other people that, this takes work and I didn't get here just by chance or from people I know or anything like that. That helped, but, I put in the work and, to say that, I want my own media production company, I can say that all day, but if I don't put any action behind that, then it's irrelevant. So
Absolutely, and I know you was talking about doing the work and kind of building that groundwork. I mean, for the people that don't even know what it is that you do, can you kind of elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. Well, I started off in media. Oh my God, in radio, actually. I was a producer and a control board operator. So I was doing the tech stuff and learning all that. And then I got into producing, so running a radio show and everything. Then I was blessed with the opportunity to work for Channel 7 News. So I honed my skills in production and writing and interviewing. So after spending 2.5 years there, I created my own platform called the Nsider, which is basically an interviewing platform that I created to interview entrepreneurs, African-American entrepreneurs and influencers, just to spread a positive light in Chicago and just to show more of us in a positive light. So I created that, did that for a couple of years. And as of October 2020, that's when I launched my business, which is Nsider Media Productions. So it's it's a video production company that helps small businesses and brands, specifically Black owned and Black brands, Black entrepreneurs, just to help them gain more exposure, because I know how it is to try to get on these big networks and news and everything to try to gain exposure on social media. So I wanted to create a company that services those communities and those people who don't know where to go, who I have reasonable prices and just a resource for them to gain that exposure and for their business to thrive, so, and video is so important now. That's what every platform is trying to turn into. So I think it's safe to say I came at the right time.
So what's the so why did you decide to name the business Nsider? Is there a meaning behind that?
So it's my name. So I wanted my name to be in my business name or incorporated in my platform some type of way, but I just didn't want it to be Nadia, my real name. So actually, while I was still at Channel 7, I would go in there and work on my platform, trying to build that up, because I was just at a place where it was just becoming repetitive. I was getting just, frustrated with certain things. Yeah, I was there during a lot that was like going on in Chicago and just the world, period. So I was just like, let me create something. I need to create something because if they're not going to hear me out or listen to me, I need something. So with my name, I was brainstorming and I was just like, it just came to me, how something just, I don't know, it just came to me. I took my first name initial, so Nadia N, and then my middle initial, so Simone, so S, and I'm like the Nsider. It literally just came to me, the Nsider, and from there, and I purposely had both the N and the S capitalized so people would know, okay, it's for my name. That's my initials, and the rest of the letters were uncapitalized. So I wanted to make that just stand out, and also it just from there it just made sense. Like it just all kind of came together. So that's how I came up with the name.
You know what I found real interesting, right? I speak to a lot of people that majored in broadcasting, right? And that one thing that they always say is like broadcasting is probably like one of the hardest fields to kind of break into, like as far as like communications and things like that. But you found a way to actually go to a broadcast company. I mean, can you talk about that? How were you able to kind of get your foot in the door for that?
So, so you know what? I didn't even major in broadcasting. I'm a communications major.
Oh,
Yeah. So I had no experience. And it's a funny story. So I always loved entertainment. I always loved television, acting, but like I was real shy and I'm still shy. But I just loved the arts all the time. So, how I got into this, like I said, I started out in radio. Um, so I interned at WVON, radio, and my dad, I believe, knew someone like at his job, and it was actually from my brother, my older brother, because he has like a radio voice. So they were trying to get him into something like after college, but he didn't want to do it. I'm like, well, I want to do it. This is cool to me. I want to do this. So it's just basically based off like connections. I word of mouth, and so I started out in interning in radio, and then for Channel 7, so I was applying to all these jobs, CBS, Channel 7, I applied to Channel 7. So my dad went up to this videographer that was there, and he explained like, yes, my daughter's trying to get into this. She's having enough, because I was having the hardest time. Like, I would apply to something every day, be in like radio hosts inboxes on Facebook, like, is there any opportunity? Like every day I was on my computer searching for an opportunity. Man. It's hard. Like
I'm already knowing.
The only thing like these hosts would do, only a few responded, and they would just like give advice. But I accepted that advice. I'm just like, dang, like, it's no opportunities though. But, the advice was cool. But my dad, yeah, he talked to a videographer. Then the videographer passed along his information. From there, I was on it. I'm like, here's my resume. I'm following up. I'm being persistent and just being faithful and prayerful. Like, come on. Because by that time, I had interviewed for CBS and I interviewed for 2 positions and I didn't get not one of them. So I was just like bummed because I'm like, finally, my big break. I thought it was going to be with them. But, God had other plans, and which I'm thankful for, because who knows how that would have went. But I kept being persistent, kept reaching out to the videographer. He probably was getting tired of me, but he wasn't. I kept texting him like, did you hear anything back? Like, any updates? He's like, no, not yet. So I'm like getting restless and getting like, never mind, like this is not gonna happen. And I think it took a month to finally get an interview. And I'm like, okay, now I just gotta crush this interview. And I went in there. The interview was like conversation almost. Like it was like
Mm.
just smooth. I'm like, this is crazy. Like this is Channel 7 News. Like how is this interview going so well? And
Right.
just like conversational. And I did my research. I'm like, okay, what's currently going on in the news? Like, I did the work. I just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't in there like, okay, this is it. Like kind of like I was CBS. But I did the work and crushed the interview, and literally I think a day or two later I got a call saying I got it. So with that, it was prayer. It was God looking out, I believe, and just persistence on my part, because I could have easily gave up. And then my dad, I guess, just going up to random people and like, you know,
There we go.
and just saying like, "Hey, my daughter's trying to do this." So that's my story. It definitely wasn't easy though, breaking in, but um, I will say knowing people is definitely key, and not being afraid to bug the heck out of people because for
And see, that's
something
where I
you
wanted
want.
to go because
Yeah.
that persistence that you talked about, constantly reaching out to like the newscasters, you
Mm-hmm.
said every single day. What
Yes.
kept you going throughout that process when you're, I guess, getting rejection after rejection?
Mm-hmm. Man, it's just my daughter for one. I had this little baby depending on me, so I had my daughter going into my senior year of college. So when I graduated, she was about to turn one, literally like a week later, and I didn't have nothing lined up. I thought I was going to get a job at Enterprise, but that didn't happen, and so I'm like, I have this child, this whole baby to provide for, and then I just that's just me. Period. Like I do not give up easily, especially if it's something I want. I do not give up. Like I just can't like live with myself if I gave up. So, and I know
Mm-hmm.
there's always a way, and there's always something that even if it doesn't look like what you want, or it's what you want, God would be like give you something better at the end. So I just always like kept that faith, and always remembered why I was doing this, who I was doing it for, and that I always wanted to be in this field. Like this is what I love. I'm not giving up on something I love. And I still think about that time, because I could have easily got discouraged and be like, forget this, I'm gonna work here, and forget
Mm-hmm.
this. But like my daughter gave me so much motivation, you know,
Yeah.
when she was born anyway, and then just knowing that it will pay off in the end, and it did. Just always keeping
Yeah.
that faith. Yeah.
You you know what? You said some important stuff, right? So when John and I talk, we always talk about one of the important things I always talk about is networking, right?
Yeah.
Is how important networking is, because sometimes it's not like who you know, is like who knows you, right? And I
Right.
think that's real important. So for you, it wasn't more so like you had the skill, right? You had the know-how, you had everything on the resume that kind of makes you stand out, right?
Right.
But it wasn't that got you in the door. It was actually the networking and the people around you. You
Right.
kind of leverage the people around you, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess my question to you is, how do someone who doesn't have a network kind of get that network, or where do they look?
For people who don't have a network and are looking, um, man, I would definitely say. I mean, you said it. Look for people who are around you. Leverage the people who are around you. But if you have no one, man, it's like social media. Like is you can network just based off that. You can
Mm,
research Google. You know different what you want to do, the fields that you want to be in, where to go, where can I get information for
Yeah.
this. But social media, that's a tool, that's a networking tool, like right there. like like i
Absolutely.
like I said,
yeah.
like I'm was literally in like maybe over 100 people's inboxes here, from out of town, like just trying to get an opportunity, and even though maybe three responded out of 100, back to what motivated or kept me going, that's what kept me going, because at least I was getting advice, at least I was getting something, and at least, and that made me feel like, okay, it's possible. So that's why I would say to people, like, search, the social media is a strong, if you use it correctly, what I'm saying, like,
Right.
social media can get you in contact with the right person.
I think, and I'm sorry, John. I think you really touched on something that was super important, right? And one of the things was, I mean, not what you touched on was, you kind of just put yourself out there, right?
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
that's important. You look at a lot of people and they want to get to this point, right? They're here, but they want to get here. But I think the biggest thing, what makes you successful is you're not scared to put yourself out there. You're okay with getting told no, but even based on that, you leverage those no's until it became a yes.
Yes.
So I think that's real important, man. I just wanted the listeners to kind of, think about that.
And even to take that a step further as well, Glenn, like when you talk about like your network, like I saw somebody post this on Instagram earlier this week. They said surround yourself with people who will mention your name in rooms that you're not in.
Yeah.
And that's where like your network
Yes.
kind of comes into play as well. And like you said, your dad was that person who went above and beyond and was
He did.
seeking out those opportunities for you. And that's just a blessing to have.
Yes.
Like you got to ask your parents, but
Right.
for other people, just make sure like the circle that you keep, you got people that are trying to support you in your endeavors, which kind of brings me to, you talked about like how you got into the news station, but how did you eventually get into this point where you wanted to start your own business?
Oh man, when I wasn't being heard, you just start seeing things over time. Things start to get political, and when you start to pitch certain stories, it just wouldn't be considered, But you get a story of one of our people being murdered again, and the violence, of course that's, oh, we got to go there, we got to get that, we got to be there first. It's like, I was getting tired of it, honestly. Getting tired of not being heard, getting tired of being portrayed, our people being portrayed in a negative way, and the stories that get hyped up is the ones that are traumatic and just negative. So I was just like, I'm going to create, because I always, out of like my friends, I always had that mindset. And I remember I asked them, like, do you guys, like, we had a group chat, I was like, do you guys ever thought about like entrepreneurship? It was like, no, like, like I want stability, I want to work, I want stability. I'm like, that's understandable. Like, ew, like I should like almost like what? Never. But now, everybody's trying to have a business. So I'm like, why wouldn't you want something of your own? Like, it's so fulfilling. And, with that mindset, with just being tired of the news, I started creating my platform at first. And from there, I was trying to run it as a business, but it just wasn't that. And at first it was starting off good. Like I was, collecting my coins, charging for interviews. But then I was just like, I don't feel right charging for interviews. And my thinking was like, I'm experienced, I'm creating this platform, you're getting exposure. But really, I honestly needed more experience. I needed more opportunities so I can meet people and so I can create this community and create this trust around who I interview and genuine relationships, So then when I can think about like the business part and have that business mindset, then I can apply it and implement it to an actual business. But what I was doing before, I started off, charging for interviews, not knowing that this is what I'll be doing now, or this was a business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't really my mindset. It was just like, I wanted to create a platform to show in a positive light. So even though I had the entrepreneur mindset, it didn't really click until later, you know. I
Yeah.
was really just trying to show us in a better light than the news was. And it just became, I'm meeting all these people, I'm meeting more celebrities, you know, and that wasn't my lane. Like, I wasn't trying to interview celebrities at all.
Yeah.
But just different. Like, I met John Singleton, and that's just based off my platform.
Wow.
Like, it was crazy. Like, I have a whole picture with him.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, even though my time at Channel 7 was great, and I am blessed, so blessed to have people who push my resume like, you need her, and then, you know, with the hiring manager believe in me, and just people who I've met there and still, you know, recommend me for jobs or throw jobs my way. Like, it's, you know, that was a blessing. But you know when it's time to go. And
Yeah.
I wanted to just create something of my own that people can feel inspired by and enlightened by. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you got the idea for your business back in 2014, 2015,
Yeah.
and you said that you're still working on it. So can you take us through some of those different iterations of your business and how you've been able to fine tune it? Because I think a lot of people think that when you start a business, as soon as you start it, it's, you know, the epitome of what it's supposed to be. And they tend to negate that it's a process of your business growing to what it should be.
Right.
So can you talk a little bit about that process for your business?
Yes. Like, starting out just doing interviews, you know, that brought me joy. Like, you know, I was just happy that people were interested in interviewing with me, and just the feedback and just doing something positive for Chicago. It then turned into like, oh, can you cover this event? And, you know, sometimes I would charge for those too, because, you know, we're doing the work. Like, can you cover this event, this and that, you know. Now, since I hone my skills in editing, I feel like that's what made me be like, okay, I can make this into a service-based business now. I still love interviewing everything, but also I wanted to get behind the camera. You know, I wanted to do more production because that's what I love. You know, at first I was interviewing on camera, didn't really want to do it, but it's like, it's my show. Like, who else would do it, you know? But I always had the desire to be in production, to be behind the camera. So that's kind of how it changed. I was starting to, like, especially with interviewing, I was starting to just have the person in front of the camera. Like, you can go on YouTube and see, like, how my videos, like, kind of change. You'll see me, and then you won't. Like, I'll be, because I'm behind the camera now, I'm like, I don't want to be on camera no more. Like, you know, I wanted the focus to be strictly on, you know, who I'm interviewing. And so my video style changed, production style changed. And then that's when I was like, oh, this can be the business side. Like, this can be a service, and, you know, people need this. So that's when I slowly started to gravitate, got my LLC, and was just like, yeah, just thinking of like packages, having meetings with like marketing, branding experts, and you know, still developing this media production company.
And the biggest thing that I kind of see, right, is when entrepreneurs kind of get started in their craft, one of the things that they do is they go to somebody who's in a similar lane as them, right? A similar business or whatever. Do you kind of have a conflict with not being like another person who's doing something that you're doing? Or how do you kind of create that lane for yourself so that you're not actually, you know, mimicking somebody that's in the same lane as you?
I don't focus on the competition, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, I don't focus on it. I would be lying if I said I never did. Of course, like you got to kind of, peek in a little bit, like, what they got going on. But I focus on the client, like making the client's experience great. Not saying that other production companies don't do that, but I know a lot focus on like the equipment they have, the, you know, aesthetics of everything. But I actually care about like the client's experience from the first time they book to the end. I want to make sure that the environment is comfortable for them, that they are being heard. So after they book, it's okay, let's brainstorm now. Like I have brainstorming sessions so I can know like what their vision is for this video instead of being like, oh, it's on me. Like, this is what I want you to do. Like, no, it's about the client. So I think that's important. I think they appreciate that. And, we work hard to just give them what they want. And I think that's what sets me apart. Like, I really care about like the client's experience.
I think there's a lot of parallels between what you're saying that helps to differentiate you from your competitors, and then even tying it into what Glenn and I have had experienced with photography, because in photography it's all about making the customer feel happy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And like Glenn, I know you could probably attest to this, maybe not, but like you could do some really bad photos but the customer enjoyed that experience to the point where they don't even look at the output or the product, but they just remember that experience that they had with you.
Yeah.
Now, can you kind of walk us through like the customer's experience when they book a session with you? Like what type of customers are booking, with your production company? And then from there, how does that brainstorming meeting go? And, for you creating like a custom experience for them?
Yes. So I've been getting, even when I had my platform, I've been getting mostly women, African American women, majority, and that's just ready to have their business be seen and brand be seen. So it hasn't changed. I've been getting mostly just women, and I'm starting to see like maybe I need to change like my niche, to just kind of focus on women, because that's my target audience, and then make that strictly my target audience. I didn't want to do that, but this has been a trend, so I need to kind of hone in on it. And that's another thing to have that's important is a niche. Do you want to just shoot weddings? Do you want to shoot whatever?
Yes.
Like, what is your niche? What do you want to do? And hone in on that, and that's where your clients will come from, right? So I've been shooting a different variety of clients. Like they do different things, but they all have been African American women, which I love to see. So that process, they book online. You can book straight online, pick a package. We have 3 different packages, and then we have a package for hosting, like if someone wants to book me for hosting, or an event coverage package. And then from there, it's mandatory that they do a brainstorming session with me. We need to know what your vision is. We need to bounce ideas off each other.
Absolutely.
So we can bring it to life, and they really appreciate that. They walk away feeling good and feeling even more excited about filming, and that's what fulfills me. I'm like, thank you. I'm so glad, because you never know what you're thinking can be totally different from what the client's thinking, and they might not like your idea, and that's why having a phone call is important. So yeah, then from there, set the day, we come in, with all our equipment, and I creative direct, and we get the shots and everything. Then I do the editing process, and voila, you see what I post. Some clients' videos, and they're a happy camper, and they leave great reviews, so that's always good.
You know what? You mentioned something super important, right? And I just wanted to circle back on it. You mentioned understanding your niche, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yes.
super important. John and I talk about it all the time,
Yes.
off camera and on camera. Is oftentimes I think when you're an entrepreneur, right? You look at your, say for example, if you want to be a whatever, you look at it as a whole, right? And you try to do everything, but you can't do everything,
can't.
right?
No.
You can't. And it's important to understand the analytics behind it, right?
Right.
Who your target market is, right? Who's
Yes.
booking you the most? And, once you figure that out, like you said, it's important. Find your niche, because you can actually make way more money
Yes.
once you find that niche
Yes.
than you would trying to tackle and master everything. Because
Yes.
it's a saying that says, and I might be butchering it, but it says something along the lines, a master of all is a, how does it go, John?
It goes, a master of all is a master of none.
Of none.
And
Yeah.
or something like that. But
Yeah.
that's so important what you said, Glenn. And like we talked about it previously, because when me and Glenn both started photography, I think I was a year before him. But
Yeah.
like somebody was like, "Hey, can you shoot this wedding?" Yeah. Hey, can you shoot
Right.
these baby pictures? Yeah. Can you shoot this whatever? Yeah. And it's like when you're so generalized with that, you don't get time to kind of carve out what it is that you specialize in.
Right.
And like eventually over time, I think when you start to, because I think it's kind of hard to get a feel for all the different areas when you just enter an industry like
Right.
media. There's so many different things that you can go into. For
Yeah.
photography, there's so many different lanes. But as you kind of dive into it and you experience different levels in it, then you kind of say, okay, I don't really like that area too much, so maybe I want to, spend a little bit more time doing this. And then, like
Yeah.
you said, both of you guys said, when you find that niche, it makes it so much easier because you're actually focusing on what you enjoy doing.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
it helps you to become better at it, which helps you to be able to charge more for it.
Right.
So-
Yep. And then market
that's the
better,
goal.
because
Yeah, the market better.
yeah, you can hone in. Okay, I need to market this way. I need bright colors and this for women, or whatever for men. Or just this type of group. Like, it just makes life easier when you find your niche. So, me being still new at this, and as far as like running a business and all the marketing stuff, that's actually my major in I'm getting my master's in integrated marketing communications right now.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. So I'm learning all of that and more,
Yeah.
which is really, I went back because I'm like, I want to know that skill. I love school, but I was just like, I know this will help in my business. And then maybe even get to work in the field, full time. But I know that this will really help business wise. So
wait, you're in school, and are you currently working like a 9 to 5 or anything like that?
I am, yes.
Oh, wow.
I work for a nonprofit as a supervisor, a tech supervisor. So yeah, not clock in, but we work from home, so that's great.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that. I've been enjoying that, but yeah.
I got a challenging question for you, if you can consider that. So, which helps your business more, the experience that you gained from the field, or what you're learning in the classroom?
Mm.
You know what? Good question. Well, media wise, it definitely my experience, and the people I've met throughout my career. School is helping with definitely like the marketing side, because I knew nothing about that,
Right.
At the same time, I honestly do think like experience and network helps a ton. I wouldn't say more, because everyone's different. Some people might find more value in the classroom than they might be socially awkward. So, in the
Right.
classroom, they probably excel, but when it comes to networking, it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, so it depends. It definitely depends on the person. But for me, I would say school definitely is helping now marketing wise, but as far as like the media goes, definitely experience, definitely what I've been through and who I've been connecting with and who I've seeked out, for information. So yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
was going to say, I'm sure it has to be like a healthy balance of both because your
Hmm.
experience helps you to do better what you've already been doing, but the
Right.
education can help you learn things that you didn't know.
Yes.
So I'm sure you're using a combination of the two. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you was getting ready to jump in with a question, Glenn, but
No, go
like
ahead, man. Go
I had
ahead.
this pressing question um, that I was thinking about. So how has COVID really impacted your business? Because with a
Yeah.
lot of things not being in person and with you having a production company,
Hmm.
has COVID halted it? Or are you guys using alternative methods like video recording like we're doing right now?
Hmm.
You know, me and Glenn haven't been in the same space to record a podcast this entire time we've been doing this for,
Wow.
5 or 6 months. So
Wow.
how's your company adapted?
You know, um, it um, definitely took a hit last year. Couldn't record, couldn't do anything. So that's when I started vlogging actually last year. I just started vlogging. I just wanted to because I wanted people to get to know me more because I feel like with starting this, people who know me, but those who've met me through the years and everything, they don't, know me like that or anything. So I just started vlogging. I always wanted to. Um, so I just started I just created my vlog. I turned my YouTube page that I already have into just my vlogs, and now it's like just my blog page. It still has my interviews that I did on there. So I was like, you know what? People can come here, look at my vlogs, and still be introduced to my
Hmm.
interviews. So,
Mm.
Hey,
that's still going. I haven't posted, I think, in like a week or two, but that's besides the point. Trying to be consistent with YouTube is a whole nother conversation. Um, but
right.
but as far as like business wise, you know, COVID that's what gave me the motivation to take this seriously, to start my business, because I'm like, and then, it gave me time to think definitely and to brainstorm, but it just gave me that time to really be like, just sit and be like, and commit to me starting this media production company.
So the question I have, right, and it's kind of geared towards the marketing aspect, right? How do you even determine what marketing what marketing platform to be on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, should you be on every single one, right? Or should you
Right.
be on the ones that's going to kind of get you the most exposure? Or does it depend on the business type that you have in the platform?
Honestly, I would say beyond as many platforms as you can. That's just like a marketing aspect of it. I know I do a bad job, so don't follow my lead. I'm still trying to be consistent. Um, but I would say definitely market um, on every platform that you have, like Twitter,
Mm.
um, because you can upload videos on there too. Instagram, of course. I think it just comes down to how you market because it might look different.
Mm.
That's what I learned actually. I learned how to do like social media audits. We had to pick a
Yeah.
company for class and do like social media audit. It was cool. It's a lot of work, but it was cool. So I believe that you should market on all, like for me, I do Instagram and Facebook. Like I have a Facebook business page. I think you should support heavy on the platform that appeals to your target audience like the most. So for me, it will definitely be Instagram, even though I need to do a better job at being consistent. I know I'm gonna get better.
Right.
Don't worry. So yeah.
So with your business, how do you measure like your success? Like if you
Mm.
are having success in the business, I know you talked
Mm-hmm.
about the views that you got on one of those videos. So
Yeah.
is that one of the metrics that you kind of go to see, or do you have other ways that you kind of measure it?
You know what? I'm starting to measure it by um the solutions I solve for clients. And by that, I mean, like, I'm starting to be more solution based, basically. Like, okay, what are you trying to solve here? Like, do you want to gain more, more clients yourself, or just more engagement, more exposure? Like, what is it? And I feel like that's important. You know, it's never been about me, It's never, I love
Yeah.
seeing the client happy, and I love that they gain success. That makes me feel successful. That because I'm doing my job essentially. Like, my thing is, like, as long as I'm solving a solution for a client, that's how I measure my success, I believe. I feel the most fulfilled and the most successful when I see a client like thrive after we produce content for them, and seeing them happy, and seeing them first, like, just believing to invest with me and my company, and then seeing the results afterward. Like, dang, they're blowing up, they're getting these views. They, like, someone
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
inquired about with my client, I asked, I'm like, did you see any, like, results? And which I should start doing, which I should have been doing, but because I'm trying to do, like, a proposal. But she was like, I was like, did you see any, like, results, or what results did you see, like, after posting the video? She was like, just more engagement. Yes, I saw more clients. And she was like, I was like, do you have, like, a percentage, like an estimate? She was like, about, like, 40%, she would say, of, like, just more clientele and just more engagement, like,
Right.
altogether, like,
Absolutely.
40%. And, that's a big number to me. Like,
Yeah.
that's almost
Yeah.
half. So,
What I like about your answer is it ties right back into, everything comes full circle. That first quote that you put for your business page.
yeah.
You said, of course, doing the work means that less talking and more action. But then you followed it up and said that always remember your why.
Yes.
Always remember your why.
Yeah.
And I think when you said, like, you're really focused on finding solutions for your customers, but
Yes.
even if the money's not coming in right now, you find success in helping your clients to elevate their voices, which
Yeah.
goes right back to, like, what you said your mission was. So,
Yeah.
that's a
Yes.
success in and of itself.
Yes, it is.
But as we're getting ready to wrap up, one thing I would say, to a lot of our listeners out there, you know, it's okay to. One of the biggest takeaways I took from this episode was putting yourself out there, right? Not being scared to fail,
Yeah.
not being scared to leverage the people that's around you, because those are the people who's going to support you the most, and those are the people who's going to always, like John said, speak about you in rooms that you're not in.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So I think that's real important. Anything,
Definitely.
John?
Oh, I mean, for me, one of the things that I took, away from this is to always know what it is that you are starting your business for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, you're gonna have some long hours. The money might not be what you want it to be. You're gonna deal with difficult clients. But if you go back to why you started the business, that'll help you to push through those difficult times and to persevere. So I mean, she's a testament to that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Still going.
And Nadia, how can our audience reach you?
Yes. So, if you are looking to book us for a service, you can go to my Instagram page, Nsider. So, Nsider Media Productions. I have a link. You can book directly on the link, and we can connect there. You can email me at info@thensider.com. Where else? I'm not gonna get my number out. That's about it.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But yeah, those two places, like, business wise. Other than that, it has my personal pages, links to my personal pages on there as well. So yeah, let's work, guys. Yes.
Oh yeah. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time.
This was
this
great.
has been great. I mean, I really enjoyed the conversation, and it's just been kind of flowing by. I hadn't even been watching the time.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're a
Right.
testament of inspiration and persistence, if
Thank you.
nothing else. From the stories that you told, from getting into the business and then evolving to where you're at now with your own business, and your mission for elevating those voices. And
Yes.
hopefully our listeners and our viewers, if you got any needs in that area, make sure to reach out to her.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Let's get this work. Let's do it. Let's change lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys, that has been another episode of the Wolf and the Doctors podcast. Again, this is Glenn Curry alongside my co-host, Dr. John Devereaux. And thank you again, Miss Nadia, for being a part of this podcast. So whatever you guys are listening on, whatever platform, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.